Hey guys, I'm going to go over a couple of the dynamic warm-up exercises that you should be doing before any practice, game, or before you do any of your workouts. We're going to do a couple lower body exercises, upper body, and 2 to warm up your back, especially before you do any rotational movements. The first 3 lower body exercises we're going to do are bodyweight squats, bodyweight lunges, and some glute bridges. All 3 of which are very good to warm up the knees and the hips, especially for an increased amount of hip mobility that you'll be doing when it comes to fielding grounders, running, sprinting from base to base, and sprinting to go catch any sort of a ball. Bodyweight squats I'm going to do from a side profile so that you can see the proper alignment of my hips and my knees. Toes are going to be facing forward. You're going to have your feet about hip distance apart. You don't want to go too wide here. You're going to keep your core engaged, sit your hips straight back into a squat, come up, squeeze the glutes, and go back down. You're going to proceed and do 10 of these, 10 bodyweight squats. Make sure that the knees stay behind the toes. It's very good to take away from any additional pressure that's placed on the knees. One of the things that we want to avoid, especially with how much activity that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. The second one is going to be a bodyweight lunge. Again, it's very important that you keep your knees and your hips at a 90-degree angle, both the front knee and the back knee. You're going to start with your toes facing forward, step down into a lunge. The front knee is going to be at a 90-degree angle. The back knee is going to be at a 90-degree angle. The pelvis is going to be tucked underneath you. When you come up, press up from your heel. Feet back together. Down, feet back together. Do about 10 on each side, warming up the hips, engaging the glutes with each one. The third lower body exercise that we're going to do is a glute bridge. For this, I'm going to lie down on my back. The knees are going to be about hip distance apart for this one. Core is going to be engaged. You're going to press your weight into your heels. Lift the hips up towards the sky, squeeze the glutes at the top, and then lower. It's very important that you're pressing through your heels so that you're engaging the glutes with every lift. Again, we're warming up the hips for hip mobility. And down. You're going to do about 10 of those and then move on. You can do each one of these lower body exercises multiple times depending on how tight you may feel. Now, moving on to upper body. When it comes to upper body for baseball, the majority of the movements that you are doing are all shoulder rotational movements. That being said, the way that you warm up your shoulders should be the same as the way that you're proceeding through practice and through games. The first one that we're going to do are forward arm circles. Keeping the core engaged with each arm circle so that you aren't rotating too much. Arm circles forward, then you're going to stop and go arm circles backward. Same thing, core is engaged. After you proceed with those, you can do hugs. These are warming up both the chest muscles, the pecs, and as you see from behind, when you come back, you're squeezing your shoulder blades. By squeezing your shoulder blades, you're warming up the upper back and warming up the shoulder blades for all of those throwing motions. The last 2 exercises that we're going to do are for spinal and for low back and mid back rotational movements, all of which are being done when you swing and when you throw. The first one's going to be a cat-cow. You're going to come down into all fours, your knees and your hands. Your hands and your wrists should be directly under your shoulders. Your knees should be directly under your hips. Core is tight. You're going to lift your back and round your back up, tucking your chin to your chest, keeping your core tight. Then you're going to dip your stomach down, lift your face up towards the sky, and back down. Proceed with 10 of those, 10 each way, warming up the lower back and the core. The last one's going to be a spinal rotation. You're going to lie down on your back, core is tight, as always. You're going to lift one leg straight to the ceiling, rotate it to the side. The opposite arm is spread directly out to the side, and you're going to look the opposite way of the foot. So you're going to look this way. This hand can lightly press down on your knee to feel an increase in that spinal rotational stretch. Hold for about 10 seconds, and then you can switch sides. do each side about 10 times. Throughout those exercises, we start from the ground up. We warm up the legs, we warm up the hips, getting them ready to be moving, getting them ready for an increase in mobility. We warm up the upper body so that everything is ready for throwing, for hitting movements. It's very important that you warm up your body so that when you go into a game and when you go into a practice, you don't sustain an injury due to your muscles and your joints not being ready to perform. Make sure you do your warm-ups. 100%. It will absolutely increase your performance every time.